Hello, good afternoon, and welcome. Daniel Jugenis coming to you from London in the United Kingdom. I trust you're all well. Here we have another glorious, bright, sunny spring day. We're on a roll here. Clear. Look outside; it's clear blue skies. The sun is shining. Glorious spring day. Not something that we're always accustomed to here in Britain, but in London as well. But we've got it. But unfortunately, we can't enjoy it. Following government advice, there's a lockdown, and while we're not really prisoners in our own home as such, we can go out. We have been advised not to. So I just popped out for a quick walk and pick up a few things at shops, and I'm back home now. Ran into a nephew I hadn't seen in a while, even though he lives locally, and he's doing okay. He's doing okay. So before I go into what I want to discuss with you today, I just noticed that when I put my head down like that, I don't know if you can see, but the lighting changes. Put my head up like that, comes back. Yep, light changes. Just put my head down like that. Even when I was drinking some water, which I'll just pretend to do, no, it didn't happen. No. I was drinking some water, the light changes, so go down like that. I don't know if you can see it, but it's happening on my iPhone where the lighting changes just by moving my head. Anyway, enough of me playing with lighting or discovering, lighting effects on my iPhone 6, my trusty iPhone 6. What I want to discuss with you today is personal space and, dare I say, personal hygiene. Not that I'm a paragon of either. I believe cleanliness is next to godliness, but even sometimes even I fall to the wayside. There are a few things, dare I say, advantages from this current pandemic crisis. Is that personal hygiene is on the top of most people's lists. I'm not too sure why that is. I do find it strange that even in the 21st century, we're having to tell people are having to be shown via televised demonstration, whether it's online or on mainstream television, how to wash your hands. Now, as children, that's probably one of the first things we learn how to do, apart from speak and say no, which first word children grasp on is to say no. I'm never sure why that is, but certainly washing of hands. And I've lost count the number of times when I've gone to a bar or a pub or a restaurant and you got to use the restroom, gentleman's room, whatever you want to call it or will call it. I do notice, when if I'm in a cubicle or wherever, one of the last things I ever hear, unless I actually do it, is the sound of running water. Some people still don't do that. Given that all the bars and restaurants closed, I have no way of knowing whether that's improved. But over here in the UK, they are banging on about washing your hands for 20 seconds. I wash my hands thoroughly. I've never timed it, but it's probably longer than 20 seconds. But now I'm actually thinking about it, whereas before, you just went in, gave your hands a really good scrub, put them on the air dryer, or if there's a towel, get the clean end of the towel and, dry your hands. But yeah, strange times. Strange times. And the other thing I wanted to talk about, and this is something that's annoyed me for years, personal space. One's personal space. It could be, we have what they call a aura, Aura. I'm not sure if I pronounce it right. Aura, which is like an energy field that's generated all around all living things, and people talk about it in different ways, like chi, personal force field, whatever. But that aside, that's scientific esoteric stuff. What I'm talking about is the personal space, the physical personal space around us. Now, it differs for individuals. Some people, they don't even want you 1 foot close to them, even a meter even. People have their own idea of what their personal space is, and I know from personal experience that women have a really big issue about, you know, men getting too close to them. And you know, you kind of find this when you're traveling on packed trains, particularly London Underground trains during rush hour, and you know you're packed in like sardines. And I've been, you know, shoved up against a woman on a number of occasions and literally have to kind of apologize. Don't really like apologize for anything that's not my fault. Even if it is, I don't feel like doing it. But yeah, you know, you just have to say, look, you know, sorry, blah blah blah. I need a kind of understanding. I have heard that some men take advantage of that. I'm not made that way, but yeah, this personal space. Now, this pandemic, there's like the 2 meter rule. You know, you've got to stay, you should say, at least 2 meters away from anybody you come in contact with. Now, I've been watching the news over here, and the underground trains are still packed with people. I'm not sure. I mean, I suppose people still have to go to work, but the fact that trains in Russia are still packed like sardines is not very good. Suppose one person has the COVID virus. You know, that whole train gets infected. So we need to look at this. I'm not sure whether it's because Transport for London have reduced the number of trains running. Personally, I don't think they should reduce any trains, because there is always a case where people have to travel. A couple of weeks ago, well, more than a week ago now, I had to travel from central London up to northwest London area, called an area called Park Royal. So the lighting's going again to keep my distance. Yeah, as I'll say that again, I had to travel up to northwest London to an area called Park Royal for an interview meeting. You know, I had no choice. I had to do it. But this was before the whole lockdown process had begun, although people advised not to travel, and that was happening. So I had a fairly easy journey there and back. But I had to do it. I haven't had to travel anywhere via train, overground or underground since. Buses, not so much, but the buses are virtually empty now. People are not really travelling, and if you have to travel, it's kind of a good thing, because one can get to where they want to fairly easily. So many people are observing personal space, but there are still some people who, I don't know whether it's through plain ignorance, stupidity, or selfishness, are still doing it. A friend of mine, Colin David Rees, he's my fellow actor, but he's my Shakespeare guru, and there's nothing about Shakespeare and his work and the times he lived in that, you know, Colin David doesn't know. But he did put on his Facebook posting, one of them, that he's noticed a correlation between those people who who voted for Brexit, and those who are not following the government advice, that are just going out doing what they want, partying, exercising in public spaces, etc., etc., etc. Now look, Colin David and myself, because I've kind of noticed this, but I didn't really want to bring up the whole Brexit debate in what is a national emergency and a pandemic, but I had noticed it, and I got what, you know, Colin David was saying. But unfortunately, some people missed the point of what he's saying. You know, we're not saying that, you know, everybody who voted for Brexit is is flouting the rules. Clearly not. Clearly not. But there are certain people, and I've seen their ilk on TV. You know, I mean, there's one guy. You know, he's working out as part of a gym group, and he was asked about the risks he's taking, and the risk he's taking to himself and to others, and he just turned around and said, "Well, I'm not sick." You know, that kind of ignorant, stupid, selfish kind of sentiment that I saw pretty much online during the whole EU referendum and the whole Brexit, post Brexit situation. Yeah, so some people still think and believe the rules don't apply to them because they've been able to go out and do exactly what they like with no comeback. But we are in the midst of a national emergency, well, international emergency. Even the government is giving us clear advice. Now, I did a video entry not so long ago when I talked about being a prisoner in my own home, not wanting to be like Number Six, the Patrick McGoohan character in that cult TV series, The Prisoner. But sometimes you have to be. Now, as I said before, life at the moment is pretty much business as usual because I've been kind of living my life this way for the past 18 months. Yes, sure, went out when I really need to, whether it's to do shopping, go to a job interview, an audition, stroke casting. Other than that, I stayed pretty close at home and would take nice long walks when I couldn't afford my gym membership. While I had a gym membership, that was one of the main things I was doing anyway. I was just going out to the gym, work out, come home, and my life kind of revolved around that. You go to the gym, you work out, you come home, you see what needs to be doing, or sometimes you have to go shopping early or go to a job interview or an audition casting, and you kind of do those things first, then kind of do the gym. If nothing was happening, then you would just go to gym, get a good workout, go home, and do whatever you need to. Sorry, my nose is itching. I don't know why. So yeah, so that's where I'm at again, and that's what I wanted to share and discuss with you. The rules are, even though I might find them draconian in times, but we haven't got to the point. I mean, I've talked about the prisoner being Number Six. I talked about 1984, 12 Monkeys. We're not quite there yet. We're not quite there yet, but if people are going to flout the rules and put everybody else at risk, then we may well end up in a situation where actual curfews are in place. Nobody can leave their homes until 6 in the morning, and everybody's got to be home by I don't know 6 p.m. in the evening, 6, 7, 8 p.m. in the evening. Now, I'm a Democrat. I don't want to see us reach this. Now, for the American audience who's watching this, I should actually mention what I mean when I say a Democrat, and I kind of take that definition from John Wayne himself when he said, I'm a Democrat. I like to listen to all the arguments and make my own decision, and that sums me up. I'm a Democrat. I like to listen to the arguments of both sides of the political spectrum and all sides, left, right, centre. And then based on what I've heard and what I research and look into, then I will form my own opinion. Now, no government, governments like control, but no government wants to be, particularly in a democratic civilized civilization. I don't think any government truly wants to instill curfews where people are not allowed out of their home between, I don't know, 6 a.m. to maybe 8 p.m. Nobody wants that. But if people are going to be selfish, stupid, ignorant, and put everybody else's health and life in jeopardy, then we may well end up all being Number Sixes. Confined to our homes or the immediate area around our homes, and just kind of watching the news programs here in the UK, and just seeing this gross stupidity, ignorance, and selfishness. I think it just makes me sick. In fact, it's always made me sick. This is the legacy of the Thatcher, me era, the me generation. I am an individual. I matter. To hell with everybody else. I'm not sick. If anybody gets sick, well, that's on them. Well, you know what? Those people need to change their damn mindset. We've had 40 years of it in this country anyway, and it really needs to change because people's lives, whether it's a newborn baby, toddler, infant, child, adolescent, teenager, adult, elderly person, middle age, we're all in this together, to quote a former prime minister. That's not political rhetoric. That is the actual goddamn truth of it. We're all in it together. We all have to look out for each other and protect each other. Now, if the government says maintain a distance of 2 meters as far as possible, don't leave your home unless it's absolutely necessary, then that is good advice. As a good friend of mine from many, many years ago once said to me, as a person, an individual, you make the changes before the changes are made for you. Now, the British government, not sure about other governments around the world, but the British government has given good, clear advice. The news programs say there's some confusion. There's no confusion here. I mean, not that I'm a fan of Prime Minister Boris Johnson, but when he made his briefings and he did his, I suppose you could say, State of the Union address to the British public, when he discussed this, he was quite clear. He was quite clear about what he is about, what the government's doing, and what we, as people in a society, should be doing. Now, none of this is on Prime Minister Boris Johnson or the government. This is on individuals who think that they are better than anybody else. No, you're not better than anybody else. You're just the same as everybody else. Forget your damn income, your materialistic attitude. You are no different from anybody else. So, like everybody else, follow the advice, follow the rules. It's not about you. It's about you and everybody else. Okay, so that's the message that I wanted to give out today and what I wanted to discuss with you, my friends, the audience. So, on that note, as always, I will say, be good to yourself, be good to each other, look out for each other, protect each other, and, I'll talk to you tomorrow, wherever I do, So, yeah, I will talk to you tomorrow, and I have no idea what I'm going to talk about tomorrow, but I'll think of something. Something always comes up. So, have a good day and stay safe. Okay? Goodbye for now.